Peter the Great, Modernizer and Westernizer, 1682 to 1725. Peter L., later known as Peter the Great, was unlike any ruler Russia had known. Standing nearly 7 feet tall, curious, restless, and determined, he believed that Russia must modernize or be left behind. Peter traveled incognito across Europe, studying shipbuilding, engineering, military tactics, and scientific advancements. He returned with a mission to remake Russia. His reforms modernized the army and built a powerful navy, reorganized government along European lines, reformed education, forced nobles to adopt Western dress and customs, taxed beards to break old traditions, expanded Russian territory. His most dramatic project was building a new capital. In the marshlands near the Baltic, he founded St. Petersburg, called the Window to the West. It became Russia's new political and cultural center. Under Peter, Russia became a European great power. Catherine the Great and the Imperial Age, 18th century. After Peter, Russia experienced ups and downs until another giant emerged, Catherine II, known as Catherine the Great. Originally a German princess, she seized power in a coup and ruled with intelligence, charm, and iron will. Her achievements: expanded the empire into Crimea, Poland, and the Black Sea, supported art, philosophy, and literature, corresponded with Enlightenment thinkers, modernized administration. Russia, under Catherine, became one of the largest and most diverse empires in the world, stretching from Eastern Europe to Alaska. Yet, beneath imperial splendor lay growing tensions. Serfdom, inequality, and autocracy hardened. These cracks would eventually contribute to revolutionary storms. Napoleon and the Fire of 1812. In the early 19th century, Europe trembled under Napoleon Bonaparte. When he invaded Russia in 1812, he commanded the largest army ever assembled in European history. But Russia responded with a brutal strategy: retreat, scorch the earth, and deny the enemy resources. When Napoleon reached Moscow, he found it burning. His troops froze, starved, and died on the long retreat. The French Grande Armée collapsed. This victory elevated Russia to a decisive role in European affairs. Though victorious abroad, Russia faced turmoil at home. Intellectuals, nobles, and soldiers demanded modernization and political reform. In 1825, the Decembrist Revolt marked the first major challenge to autocracy. It failed, but a new wave of thinkers, writers, and revolutionaries emerged. Pushkin, Gogol, Tolstoy, Dostoevsky, and others shaped a cultural golden age. The most important reform came under Tsar Alexander II, who, in 1861, abolished serfdom, freeing millions of peasants. But progress was slow. Radical movements grew. Violence rose. In 1881, Alexander II was assassinated by revolutionaries, shocking the empire. His successors clamped down on dissent, but the momentum of revolution had already begun. The Last Romanovs and the Fall of the Empire, 1900 to 1917. By the early 20th century, Russia was a nation under severe strain: poverty and inequality, industrial unrest, nationalist tensions in border regions, military defeat in the Russo-Japanese War. In 1905, protests erupted. The Tsar, Nicholas II, was forced to create a parliament, the Duma, but real reform remained limited.
Then came World War I, a disaster for Russia. Millions died. Supplies ran low. The government lost control. In 1917, after centuries of monarchy, the Russian people rose in revolution. Nicholas II abdicated, ending the Romanov dynasty. A provisional government attempted to lead the country, but it was weak and unpopular. In October 1917, the Bolsheviks, led by Vladimir Lenin, overthrew it. Russia stood on the brink of a new era, one of ideology, conflict, and transformation. The Russian Revolution and Civil War, 1917 to 1922. Lenin and the Bolsheviks promised peace, land, and bread, but their takeover sparked a bloody civil war. The Red Army, commanded by Trotsky, fought the White Army, a coalition of monarchists, liberals, and foreign forces. Villages burned, millions starved, violence swept the land. By 1922, the Bolsheviks were victorious. They created a new state, the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics, or the USSR. Russia had transformed from empire to socialist republic, from monarchy to communist state. Stalin and the Iron Age, 1924 to 1953. After Lenin's death, power struggles led to Joseph Stalin becoming leader. Under him, the USSR underwent rapid industrialization and collectivization. Achievements: turned a rural nation into an industrial superpower, built massive factories, dams, and railways, boosted literacy and scientific growth, but at a terrible cost. Forced collectivization caused famine, especially in Ukraine. Millions were arrested, exiled, or executed. The Great Purge destroyed political, military, and intellectual leadership. Then came the greatest test of all, World War II. The Great Patriotic War, 1941 to 1945. In 1941, Hitler launched Operation Barbarossa, the largest invasion in history. Soviet cities fell, millions died, and the Red Army retreated. But the USSR survived. Battles at Moscow, Leningrad, and Stalingrad turned the tide. The Red Army marched west, liberating Eastern Europe. By 1945, Soviet troops entered Berlin. The USSR emerged as a global superpower, but scarred by unimaginable human loss. The Cold War and the Soviet era, 1945 to 1991. For the next 40 decades, the Soviet Union and the United States engaged in a global rivalry, the Cold War. Key features: nuclear arms race, space race, with Yuri Gagarin becoming the first human in space in 1961. Proxy wars in Asia, Africa, and Latin America. Strict political control at home. By the 1980s, the Soviet economy stagnated. Shortages, corruption, and political rigidity pushed the system toward collapse. Mikhail Gorbachev introduced glasnost, openness, and perestroika, reform, but change came too fast and too slowly. In 1991, the USSR dissolved. Russia, once again, became an independent nation. The new Russia, 1991 to present. The 1990s were a decade of chaos, economic collapse, corruption, and political volatility. Many Russians saw their living standards fall. In 1999, Vladimir Putin rose to power. Under him, Russia rebuilt its economy, strengthened its state institutions, and reasserted itself on the world stage. But this period has also seen controversy, political centralization, restrictions on dissent, and major geopolitical tensions, particularly with the West. Today, Russia remains a nation of contradictions, a nuclear superpower, a land of immense natural resources, a country balancing tradition and modernity, a state navigating its identity between Europe and Asia. Its history continues to unfold, shaped by its geography, its ambitions, and its people. From riverside tribes to vast empire, from czars to revolutionaries, from superpower struggles to the uncertainties of the modern world, the story of Russia is a story of resilience, reinvention, and relentless transformation. Its past is filled with triumphs and tragedies, with brilliance and brutality. And as history continues to turn its pages, Russia remains one of the world's most influential and enigmatic nations. Thank you for joining us on this epic journey through the centuries. This has been Echoes of Time, where history lives and its echoes never fade.